Good afternoon. Am I audible to you all? Yeah, good afternoon. How are you? And, hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, hello, ma. Tell me. Am I audible to you all?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Gayatri, Ajay, Sharvani, Sharma. Please mute your mics, ma. Jaydeep, I think Jaydeep is coming for today's class, right? Is he there? Humaira, Fatima. Hello, Varsha Reddy, Teja Sairam. Yeah, I welcome you all. Rahul, Salma, Sana, Srilata. I think Srilata was there in our previous class also. Shall we go to our next unit? Have you tried to read your textbook or any other information, any other material on definitions of sociology, etc.? Do you have any doubts related to our previous session? Hello?
No, madam.
No?
Not at all.
That's really wonderful. But only my request is, please go through immediately after the session. And that will be easier for you to understand.
Okay, madam.
Oh, that's really very wonderful. Now, see, in our last session, we have seen 2 units of Black one. What is sociology? Its relationship with other social sciences, its origin.
Yeah, ma'am.
Right? Excuse me? Hello?
తెలుగు మీడియం వాళ్ళకు ఉన్నా మేడం తెలుగులో చెప్పండి
మరి ఇది ఇంగ్లీష్ కదమ్మా తెలుగు మీడియం కి వేరే ఉంది తెలుగు మీడియం అక్కడ జాయిన్ అవ్వండి
This is English.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, Telugu medium students, please join your class. For Telugu medium, we have a separate class, right? You please join that class. Okay, ma? Okay, right. This is English medium class, right? Okay. We have defined sociology as a science of a scientific study of society. Etymologically, or even if we take Auguste Comte's definition, and we also understood the influence of Industrial Revolution as well as French Revolution and the importance given to natural sciences as factors which led to the emergence of this new science of society. That is, it was coined as social physics by Auguste Comte, but later changed as sociology or scientific study of society. This we discussed in our last class. We also saw the interrelationship between sociology, to some extent, how it is linked with various other social sciences. Only difference between other sciences and sociology is a kind of comprehensive outlook. How man lives in a society, that is a subject matter of sociology, whereas how man works as an economic man or political man, one particular dimension of his life will be studied by other social sciences. More or less, the methods which they use are same. For all social sciences, we usually come across same methods. Yeah. One second, I think some comment is made here. Hello? One person is talking about WhatsApp group. So you please contact your friends, your colleagues, so that you can have it. Okay. In the class, we are not creating any WhatsApp groups. If you want, you can create, and you can also add me to the WhatsApp group, right? And
Okay, ma'am.
related to page number. Here I am seeing Pooja is asking for page number. If you are having your book, we will be going to unit 3, that is scientific method or sociology as a science or as a discipline. Various tools created by the sociologists and how they
madam,
are
your
used.
video is not coming.
Yeah. 1 second. Because I was seeing your chart. That is the reason I had to stop it. Okay. Today I am doing it from my phone, so I'm a little bit not that techie savvy while using phone. That's the reason I had to stop that video. Okay. Let's go back to.
Ma'am, today lesson what name?
Unit 3, ma. Sociology as a scientific discipline.
Okay,
Various
thank you, ma'am.
methods and all those things. If you want to have page number, we are going to page number 30 in your book.
Okay, ma'am.
Right?
Thank you.
Welcome. One more thing I wanted to tell you. If at all you want to have any notes or any synoptic this thing, a synopsis like thing, you can WhatsApp me, and I'll be sending a PDF or, whatever form you would like, to PDF or HTML or Word document. But only thing is you have to give a little bit time for me, a week's time or so, because I have to convert the notes into this thing. So I'll be sending it to you. That's up to you. You can tell your friends also, right? Now,
Okay, ma'am.
let's go to the chapter where we will be studying about whether sociology is a science or not. Why this question? We have to start with it. The reason is sociology is considered as a scientific discipline or academic discipline only in, let's say, 20th century, not prior to that. Or let's say last quarters of 19th century, you can say. Because all of you are well aware, Auguste Comte coined this word, and it is the youngest to science. For considering sociology as an academic discipline, Auguste Comte and others had to explain various details. First, it was not considered as an academic discipline because various founding fathers of sociology were explaining their principles, their theories, and all that. But by the end of, let's say, 1880 or so, sociology was established as an academic discipline. Most of the universities all over the European society, and even in our country also, 1919, first sociology department was established by Patrick Gates. Who are the founding fathers and what they said? Let us have a bird's eye view about this. When Auguste Comte defined sociology as a study of various principles of, or natural principles, and understanding our reactions or action, he uses that word action. At the time, he has used one word, positivism. From this positivism, we'll be taking scientific method. Max Weber and other founding fathers of sociology, they talked about sociology as more or less a natural science. For instance, Durkheim wrote a book on rules of sociological method. And in this book, he clearly mentions that it is just like any other science, not social science, but science. He made it very, very clear. Certain other philosophers, for instance, Karl Marx, they talked about the development or evolution of society from simple society to complex society, or class society to class-less society. Herbert Spencer, who is another founding father of sociology, he was a social Darwinist. He was influenced by Charles Darwin, who talked about evolutionary theory. All of you are well aware. Survival of the fittest or natural selection, or who said our predecessors are apes or mammals. Yes. So from biological sciences, Herbert Spencer adopted structure, function, organism, such concepts, and he has propounded social organismic theory. He equated human body or human society with human physical body. Please mute your phone, ma. Another person, Wilhelm Wundt, in fact, is considered as father of psychology. Wundt talked about a common mind or collective mind. All these theoretical orientations paved the way for sociology to become an academic discipline. And all these studies emphasized only one particular method, that is scientific method, because we have to see what methods are being used in sociology in order to understand the nature of sociology. Scientific method is characterized by experimentation and various calculations, collection of data, tabulation, analysis. All these will be done by using mathematical methods or statistical methods. In other words, we'll be having kind of, what can I say, experimental method in our sociology. One thing, I mean, one student has given chart related information. You please give this information individually to your friends and not during the class, please. Okay. Now, let's come back to what is scientific method. We have started that. Whenever you are able to do experiment, whenever you are able to do mathematical principles in order to analysis, then that method is termed as scientific method. Okay, this definition is very simple, but what aspects will be same in order to describe sociology? Three aspects we usually consider whenever we talk about scientific method. The first and foremost one is reliability. Whether the data collected by us is reliable or not. Unless and until you use standardized methods, we cannot say data collected is a reliable data. For instance, if you ask, let us say, your neighbors or your friends and all that related to some aspect of our social life, data collected from them cannot be considered as a reliable data. Because you ask some persons whom you know, that data is limited to only few persons. We cannot generalize it. So generalization is another characteristic of scientific method. Okay, in order to understand reliability, what other methods we can? The second aspect which we have to say is validity, whether the data is valid or not. Most of the theories propounded by many people, including various social scientists, usually take certain metaphors. Our known aspects will be taken into consideration as metaphors. And they'll be taking that metaphor and they'll be explaining what it is and how it is, how to understand it all. But when we talk about scientific method, this validity will be taken into consideration only when data is reliable. Here comes the question of two types of logics, inductive and deductive logic. If you observe something and deduce that if this happens, this is going to happen, then that is known as deductive logic. Opposite to, more or less, to this is inductive logic. Studying one particular phenomenon or few phenomena in toto, in detail, at length, and will be coming to a conclusion that if these factors are there, then we are going to have this particular result. All these are termed as causal relationships, cause-effect relationships. So scientific method should have all these. This method we are using in sociology. Hence, it is a science. Of course, we cannot put persons, people in a laboratory and study them, but our society is our laboratory. We'll be observing them, how they behave, what they do, or what feelings or beliefs they are having, how they understand their culture, how they develop various social processes to continue them. All these aspects will be observing by using methods where we can get reliable and valid data. Right? Here comes the question of what are the various methods which we will be using in sociology. Already I have mentioned we must be able to do experiments. Experimentation is a crucial one in order to explain sociology as a scientific discipline. How can you do experimental? We have, of course, in detail you will be studying when you study a paper on research methodology, but here at least little bit information it is better to know. In sociology, we have a variety of research designs. Of all these, the very important, crucial research design is experimental method, where we'll be taking one group for observation, which is termed as controlled group. And we also will take into consideration another group where we have not introduced any new things or anything, that is non-controlled group. And we'll be collecting data by using observation or interview schedule or questionnaire. In observation, we'll be observing. In interview schedule, we'll be asking for information from the respondents. In questionnaire method, whatever questions we are planning to ask for our research topic, we'll be putting them on a paper and we'll be giving that paper to the respondent and we'll be collecting data. After collecting data, we'll be tabulating them. We'll be using statistical methods to analyze and we'll come to a conclusion which is known as proving or disproving hypothesis. Once again, we'll be rechecking this. After rechecking that, we'll be preparing generalizations. If we do any generalizations which are limited to a particular aspect of our life, we call them as middle range theories. But at the same time, we are also having grand theory. For instance, Talcott Parsons prepared a grand theory of society. He has taken certain concepts like actors, action, etc. Of course, in your thought paper, social thought paper, you are going to study in detail about this. Besides this experimental method or collecting data by using observation or questionnaire or interview method, we are having other methods also. Let me mention some of these methods. One method is case study method, where we take a case. That case may be anything. It may be one individual or a group of individuals or a community or a cultural group or the entire society as a whole. We'll be studying all aspects of this case and we'll be analyzing it. When we talk about case study method, we have to remember other two terms, qualitative and quantitative data. If you use survey method where you will be covering many people, thousands of people or lakhs of people, where you will be administering questionnaire, then that method is known as survey method. You will be getting quantitative data from survey method. For instance, let us say in Telangana area, how many educated people are there and how many of them are employed, how many of them are not employed. You have to use survey method only because the entire Telangana area you have to cover. Some statistics will come. This much percentage of educated people are employed and this much are not employed, something like that. So quantitatively, you are explaining the social aspect of unemployment in a particular area. But here, we are not talking about what happens if unemployment occurs to a particular individual or to a particular social group or to a particular cultural group, why they are becoming unemployed. Is it willingly or unwillingly? These aspects we are not going into in this particular method. In such cases, what we do is we take case study method. In some communities, because of social status and all that, people may be even they are educated, they are having the will to work for remuneration, but despite that, they will not work. For instance, let me take a simplest example. Most of the women, despite having education, need, etc., they will not go for employment at all. They prefer to stay at home. So here, all these people, if you take survey method and its results, all these people will be under the category of unemployed persons. But what is happening in reality in society? Only qualitative data can give this information. So in order to have qualitative as well as quantitative data, we use case study method as well as survey method. If the group is a small one, how people develop social relationships? We have certain other methods. For instance, a method namely sociometry will be used in sociology. Moreno has coined and propounded this theory and this method. What is the sociometry method? Moreno says we'll be measuring the social relationships. For instance, he has taken school children and he has used certain terms also. Star he used. He asked the school kids of a particular class, age group is between 7 to 9. If any birthday is there, whose birthday you would like to go, to whom you would like to give greeting cards. They have mentioned one particular boy. So that particular boy is termed as social star. The reason is he is able to maintain social relationships with the more or less the entire class. Whereas certain other children were not able to maintain this type of relationship with the entire class. So what is happening? He is measuring the social relationships, their frequency, their proximity, or their repetitiveness. So this is another method which we will be using in sociology. So like this, there are a variety of methods which we'll be using and we'll be preparing hypotheses, we'll be proving them or disproving them. If our hypothesis is disproved, then once again we'll be doing research and we'll be preparing another hypothesis so that we can continue our research. All these research activities talk about sociology as a kind of scientific discipline, just like any other social science, whether it is economics or political science or any other science. This is about, in a nutshell, our unit 3, where we talked about different methods of sociology and how we are considering sociology as a scientific discipline or academic discipline which uses scientific method. So with this, we can say our block 1 is completed, where we studied the emergence of sociology to methods used by sociology.
Excuse me, ma'am, I have a doubt. What is the meaning of tribal, ma'am?
Tribal?
Tribal people, huh?
See, we usually consider various groups in any society. If certain characteristics are there, then we consider them as tribal communities. For instance, economic specialization will not be there. You know what is economic specialization. For instance, if they are doing agriculture, then they will not be using any plow or tractor, etc. They'll be using hoe, a kind of stick and all that. Then secondly, what type of situation they are having? Are they educated? Some of the tribal languages are not having even script also. So the question of education doesn't arise at all. Then homogeneity. Culturally, they are one group. Their language is different. Their beliefs are different. Not only that, they also consider them as one unique group compared to even other tribal communities. So like that, we are having certain characteristics for tribal community. And in some countries, For instance, even our country also, because of the economic and social backwardness, our government, as per the provisions of Constitution, is expected to take certain measures for them. That is known as positive discrimination. So in order to bring them into the mainstream. So here, which cultural group requires this type of positive discrimination? In order to know that, we usually prepare a schedule on the basis of backwardness. Hence, we call them as scheduled tribes. If any community's name is in the schedule, then that is known as scheduled tribe. Why suddenly you got this doubt? Hello? Hello? Okay. You are going to have a paper on social anthropology when you come to your 5th semester, which is more or less an exclusive study of tribal communities of our country. Okay. Here, only thing is, please remember, all of us are human beings and all of our societies are human societies. If you say tribals are not developed, we are developed, as a sociology students, please don't say that. The development factor which we are talking about is only with reference to economic opportunities or usage of technology, like that certain parameters are there. Only in that context, they are not developed. In some other context, we are also not developed. The urban or let us say civilized society, the so-called civilized society, quote unquote, also is not developed. So in sociology, we are all human beings and all of our societies are human societies, right? Now, in sociology, just like any other social science, we will be understanding social relationships or society or social processes or institutions, etc., etc., by using certain concepts, by using certain theories. And what are these basic characteristics or basic concepts which we use in sociology and principles in sociology? Our next block is on these aspects. Even in this block also, we are having 3 units. Our unit 4 is on certain concepts which we use in sociology. These are society, community, association, and institution. When we live in society, for us, many times, all these are same. But when you are a student of sociology, there are certain differences between these 4 basic concepts. Society is different from community, similarly association, similarly an institution. What are they? Let us have an idea. These concepts we usually understand by following for our convenience sake.
Ma'am, ఇప్పుడు మనం 4th యూనిట్ లో ఉన్నావా మ్యామ్?
అవునమ్మా, 4th యూనిట్ లో ఉన్నాం.
ఓకే మ్యామ్,
కొంచెం నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ క్లాసెస్ తక్కువ ఉన్నాయి కదా, సో ఐ హావ్ టు రష్ యా.
ఓకే మ్యామ్, కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అవుతుంది, అందుకే కొంచెం చెప్పండి మ్యామ్.
ఏది కొంచెం? యూనిట్ నెంబర్ చెప్పమంటారా?
నెక్స్ట్ టైం ఎప్పుడైనా అట్లా వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు చెప్పండి మ్యామ్ అంటున్నా.
Sure, definitely, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
No, if you have a book, go to page number 50.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Right. Now, in unit 4, we'll be studying basic concept of sociology, right? Let us start with society. How to understand? For our convenience sake, we usually follow a method. That method is, we'll be studying the characteristics. We also will be studying how it differs from other concepts. All these are concepts. You please remember, sociology uses abstract concepts. We will be understanding our social life by using certain abstract concepts. Okay? The entire sociology's pivotal point is the concept of society. Because you know, sociology is a study of society, right? Then what is society? Immediately the question comes. Lepire, one sociologist, he describes a society as a complex pattern of norms of interaction. Little bit tough, right? If we are asked a question, what is society? We usually say group of people. No, it is not a mere group of people. It is much, much more than that. Within a group, we'll be talking to some persons, we'll be seeing some persons, we prefer to talk to some persons. All these are termed as interactions among the people. And how these interactions we are making, there are certain norms and we follow these norms. Norm is nothing but a kind of rule or regulation. And these norms also are not simple, they are very complex. So let me say society is not a mere group of people, but a complex pattern of norms of interaction. Let me explain certain characteristics so that you will be able to understand the concept of society, okay? The first and foremost thing is society means people. Without people, there cannot be any society at all. Because monad cannot have any society. George Simmel talks about certain concepts. Monad means only one person. Dyad means two persons. Triad means three persons. More than three persons, that is four or more than that, that is group. All our social relationships are starting from dyad, two persons. If other person is there, not there, then you cannot have any social relationship at all. Of course, you can think about yourself as a monad, but their social relationship is not there, strictly speaking. Hence, society consists of people, right? Who are these people? People residing in a particular geographical area. All of us, if I ask you people, you are from or which state or which town, which village is yours, immediately you will say some village or some state or some town. Though you have not gone there, though you are not residing there. Why? The reason is you identify yourself with that geographical area. Then the second characteristic is these people who are formulating a group should have continuous interaction with each other. If you see a person at a bus stop, there is no social relationship. If you are seeing a person at a bus stop every day, and after a couple of days, there emerges a social relationship, that is known person. When this known person, that relationship emerges, then we are having social interaction. Another characteristic is likeness. Please mute the mic, ma. If likeness is not there, there cannot be any society. All of us should be thinking alike, feeling alike, or seeing things in a like manner. Otherwise, there cannot be any social interaction between us. And this likeness brings cooperation among us. And how we exhibit this cooperation? By division of labor. Say, for instance, at home, mother is expected to do certain activities, father is expected to do certain activities. Similarly, husband or wife or children and parents. All these activities are based upon cooperation, and this cooperation is coming because of the division of labor. And it is not a mere division of labor like economists study. It is a functional division of labor. That is the reason why we say in any human society, human interaction is based upon functional division of labor, and the person whoever learns this is known as functional individual. If a person is not able to learn this functional division of labor, then he will not be in a position to cope with the society. And this functional aspect brings interdependence in a society. That may be direct interdependence or indirect one or symbiosis. For instance, let us say you are expected to attend the class on Saturday and Sunday at 1 o'clock, right? Unless and until your family members cooperate, unless and until your network person, whoever is giving the service cooperates, unless and until your electricity department people cooperate, you will not be able to attend the class, right? Which is direct cooperation. Direct cooperation is given to you by your family members, and indirect cooperation by the electricity department or airways and all these persons. And our network administrator from Ambedkar Open University. Unless and until all these are there, we cannot have this class at all, right? Now, is society static? This is really a very important question because our entire concept of social change is based upon this only. In fact, Auguste Comte talked about social statics and dynamics. Dynamics is nothing but change. We know pretty well that yesterday's society is different from today's society. Or let us say 40 years ago, people were living in a particular way. Now we are living in another way. And forthcoming 40 years, we may see so many changes. So all these show what? Society is dynamic. It is ever changing. If it is ever changing, then do you mean to say all will be following norms? All will be following values? You might have come across one saying, values are not there. Present day society is not following any values. No way. A sociology student will not accept this at all. Values also will be changing because of the dynamism of a society. And whenever old value gives way to new value, there emerges certain problems. And these problems have to be tackled with by the society. And how can they do? Here comes the question of controlling, social control. We are having a variety of mechanisms. We are having a separate unit also on that. When we go to that unit, we'll study what is social control and what are various mechanisms. Now, of all these characteristics, one characteristic we have to mention. Without culture, a way of life, there cannot be any society at all. So whenever we say society, we are talking about a specific way of life or a culture. So these are essential characteristics of society. Here, many times people say that it's not only we, the human beings, even some of the primates like chimpanzee, gorilla, or orangutan, or for that matter, even ants and bees also are having society. What is great in the human society, people may say. In order to understand the nature of human society, let us have a glance on the distinction between animal society and human society. Three aspects let us remember in this context. The first and foremost one is, whenever we talk about animal society, animals are based upon some instincts or physiological or biological differences. Whereas human society, of course, in some cases, physiological bases are there, but our communication is symbolic communication. We are all cognitive animals. The reason, when you see evolution, our brain is having so many folds. That means we can remember many things. Even it is, let us say, 100 years old or even beyond that, we can remember clearly, crystal clearly, vividly. Whereas animals will not be in a position to do so because of their biological structure. Since we can remember, we continue what we have learned and we also add some more thing to that. So this cognitiveness created symbolic interaction in a human society. This is not there in animal societies. Other one is, only human beings are having language. No animals are having language. Of course, communication is there, but even that communication also is based upon some physiological or biological characteristics. But unlike us, they are not having any language. On the basis of language and symbolic interaction, we are having another characteristic, all of you are well aware, that is culture. Each and, say for instance, if you see chimpanzees or gorillas, wherever you go all over the world, chimpanzees behave in a particular way. Because their behavior is a physiological one, unlike us. Human beings also are living all over the world. There is no doubt at all, right? But our behavior is not alike. There are so many differences. Our language is different. Our ideas are different. What we are doing, that also is different. So many differences we can see, so much diversity we can see That is only because of symbolic interactionism, cognitive functioning of our brain, our language, and culture. So human societies and animal societies are different. So this is about society. But we are living in a particular area. Is this society? Let us say you are residing at Hyderabad. Hyderabad is a geographical area having some kind of boundaries, right? People living at Hyderabad, can we consider it as a society or cannot be? I know, I'm coming to that only. Taking two aspects, that is physical proximity and social cohesion among the persons. Taking these two characteristics, one more concept also we have created, that is namely community. You might have heard rural communities, urban communities. Just now, one of your colleagues asked, who are tribal communities? Right? Here we are not talking about society, we are talking about community. Why? The reason is they are living at a particular geographical area. This will be very clear if you see some of the definitions of community. If you want to see the definitions, please go to page number 53 in your book. Let me take a simplest definition for community. Ogben and Nemkov, they have given the simplest definition of community. Community is a group or collection of groups that inhabit a locality. When we use society, we are not talking about any geographical limitation. Society means people, human beings living all over the world. But when we use the word community, the concept community, we have to limit ourselves to a particular geographical locality. Indians or Americans or Britishers or European society or Pakistanis or Bangladeshis or Afghanistan. Here we are referring one geographical locality. So this is the basic difference between society and the community. Besides the locality concept, we will be seeing other aspect, namely community sentiment. What is this community sentiment? People living at a particular geographical area develop a kind of likeness. They feel that they are all one group. Not only feeling, they also strongly believe and work for that. For instance, many times you might have come across, right? Any cricket match is there. If Pakistanis could win the race, then immediately Indians will be having mourning period. If Indians are able to gain some wickets or some kind of score, then Pakistanis may be. Here, Pakistan is a geographical area. India also is a geographical area. But we are not talking about geographical area. We are identifying ourselves with a particular area. And this identification is known as community sentiment. And what other characteristics we can see? One difference between community and society is size of the society. Size of the society is very big, whereas community may be big or small. Say, for instance, if you take a small village, right? Then that small village is a small size village geographically. But if you take, let us say, an urban society, then geographically, population-wise, it is a large community. Not only that, in every community, we usually develop certain traditions, customs, or practices, rules and regulations in order to regulate the members we come across. Whereas in other groups, like let us say group, this may not be there. So keeping these four aspects, that is locality, community sentiment, size, regulation of relationships, we can have a classification of communities. One of the major classification is where they are residing, what type of technology they are using. Accordingly, tribal community, rural community, and urban community, we usually see. Tribal community at the beginning of this session we have discussed. They're homogeneous, they're small in size, their language is different, their religion also is different, their culture, mostly folk culture or folk literature. Not only that, economically, they never use a lot of technology, hence they are economically backward. Compared to tribal communities, rural communities are more developed. But unlike urban communities, rural communities are that developed. Urban communities most developed, we should say. Here, when we talk about rural communities, we are referring villages. Even among the villages also, we can see various categories. Say, for instance, hamlets are there, very small villages. Similarly, big villages are there. Not only that, on the basis of what type of occupations they are doing, what type of culture they are having, accordingly, we consider, though population is very high, we consider some of the areas as rural communities. Now, what are the other characteristics? On the basis of how they structure houses, settlement patterns, we usually call them. Accordingly, we can categorize villages into various groups. For instance, if one pivotal point is there, a center is there, and houses are constructed surrounding the center in a zonal way, then that type of village is known as a nucleated village. Similarly, houses are constructed on two sides of a road, let us say highway or road which leads to one place to another, then such settlement is known as linear settlement. If you go to certain other areas, people construct their houses within their own agricultural lands. And such villages are known as dispersed villages. If only one house is there, or two are there, or three are there, accordingly we are having certain other classifications also. Say, for instance, a landlord and persons working along with landlord, let us say some 5 to 7 houses are there in a particular village, then it is known as cluster village. Then urban community, I think most of you are well aware of urban community because most of us are living in urban community. One crucial characteristic or important characteristic is population and population density. Population number is very high and population density also is very high in urban areas. Not only that, different activities. In urban areas, 75% of the people will be doing non-agricultural activities, whereas it is other way around in rural areas. 75% of the people living in rural areas will be doing agricultural activities or agricultural related activities. In urban areas, we will not come across like that. So these are examples of rural urban community, and this is about community. The basic difference, you please remember, locality, community sentiment, these aspects differentiate community from a society. Two other concepts also we have to say in this context. One is association. What is the significance of association? Let me start with one statement. We are not given any chance or choice to born at a particular place or to born into a particular cultural group, right? So membership in community, or let us say society to be precise, is not in our hands. But whereas association, we ourselves, for our own needs, for our own purposes, we develop a society. Like-minded people will come together and they establish a group and sentiments. That is known as association. If you want to see, go to page number 57. Let me take the simplest definition for association. I am taking McKeever's definition here. Association is an organization because we write the rules and regulations, how and where and why we have to work and all that. That is the reason McKeever uses it, deliberately formed by our own will. We form that. For what purpose? Collective pursuit of some interest or set of interest, which its members share. Say, for instance, if you are all going to, you are all joined in a course and opted for sociology. Opting for sociology and joining in a course is known as interest. In order to fulfill this interest, what you are doing collectively by joining in a group, that is Ambedkar Open University course, collectively you are pursuing your interest of getting educated in certain social sciences. Is this an association? We have to say, yes, it is an association. You might have come across many student unions. Student union is an association. Or let us say Lions Club of India or Rotary Club of India. Even they are also associations, because deliberately people are coming together, associating themselves as a group. Then how to remember association by its characteristics? The first and foremost characteristic is, it is a group of people. I know you are going to ask, even society also is a group of people, community also. Then what is great in association? Please wait for a GIF, we'll see. In society and community, of course, it is a group of people, but common interest or interests are not determined by us, members of that particular group. Whereas in association, members of a particular group come together in order to pursue their common interest. That means in all associations, cooperative spirit will be there. Without cooperation, association cannot be there. Whereas in a community, there may not be cooperation also. Conflicts also will be there. All of you are well aware. Say, for instance, you have filed a case against your neighbor for trespass. Your neighbor will definitely become an enemy to you. This hostility or enmity is nothing but a kind of conflict. It's a form of conflict. This can be there in a community, but not in an association. So cooperative spirit is a crucial or basic element or essential element of an association. In any community, there may be organization or disorganization, but it is not so in case of association. It is always an organized group. People or members of an association will be following various rules and regulations in toto, in verbatim. If a person refuses to follow them, then association can remove that person from the membership. It is not possible in case of society or community. Either one is the durability of association. For how many years or how many months or how many days or how many weeks an association is going to be there. It depends upon the interest. Once the interest is fulfilled, once the needs are fulfilled, then association will be dismantled. There may not be an association at all. Sometimes merger also will be there. You please take an example of banks. Bank is an association. Very recently, so many banks merged into different banks. For instance, Andhra Bank merged into Union Bank of India, right? Similarly, Syndicate Bank merged into Canara Bank. Here, what is happening? Once the interest is not there, then they may collapse or they may merge into certain other institutions, certain other associations. So the durability is not permanent in case of association, whereas it is in case of society and the community. Now, what is an institution? Because our next concept is about our institutions. Do we have any institutions? Yes, absolutely. We are having so many institutions. Right? In our last classes, we were discussing about basic social institutions like marriage, family, and all those things. But how to define an institution? Let me take a simplest definition. I'm going to page number 58 in your book. Once again, I'll take McIver and Paste definition for institution only. What they say is, it is a kind of characteristic procedures which a group follows. That means whatever needs we are having, whatever desires we are having, we follow a procedure. And this procedure is termed as institutionalization process. And when we follow that procedure, that organization is termed as an institution. Institutions can be simply defined as habitual ways of living together. We are all living together Because we are habituated to live. In a family, there may be so many problems. There may be tussles also, but despite that, family members are living together. Similarly, at workplace also, there may be so many problems, enmities, hostilities, but despite that, they are working together. Why? Because they are habituated to live together or work together. Hence, our economic institutions, our family institution is an institution because of this habitual way of living together. Now, what are the characteristics of an institution? Let us have a glance. Institutions are everywhere. So, universality is one of the characteristics of our institutions. And institutions always standardized norms. These rules or regulations or norms are not different from you and me. If you are a member in a particular institution, then you have to follow all the rules and regulations. You cannot have any exceptions in all those things. This is another important characteristic of an institution. In order to control people, institutions will have a variety of controlling mechanisms. Because institution works as a social control mechanism also. Let us take a simplest example. Religion is a basic social institutions, but it has a variety of controlling mechanisms. It asks you to follow certain rules and regulations, pray God or gods, do various rituals, or do some kind of pilgrimages. All these are nothing but controlling mechanisms. Unlike association, institution will not go away. It is relatively permanent unless and until the society metamorphizes. Institutions will not give way to other. For instance, family was there way back when we started living together. Even now it is there, despite having so many changes in the family. Similarly, religion, similarly, economic institution. Hence, compared to an association, institution is relatively permanent. One more thing is, we cannot see institution. It's an abstract form. We can't say who are your family members. Then we may say father, mother, or husband, or wife. But we cannot show what that means. Then how to understand? Various utilitarian aspects, various traditions, behavioral patterns, certain ideology will be there for any institution. So these traditions are both oral as well as written traditions. And some identification symbols also will be there. We all identify these symbols. Say, for instance, our constitution. And particularly whenever we talk about constitution, you might have come across on your, let us say, WhatsApp or any other groups, the first page where preamble is printed, we'll be showing that. So it's a kind of symbol for our constitution. And all institutions are interrelated. Each institution is based upon other. Religion is based upon family. Family is based upon economic institutions, like that. You name it. All institutions are interrelated. Of course, there are various social institutions. Some of the sociologists try to classify them into primary institutions and secondary institutions. Our basic social institutions are termed as primary institutions. When we talk about secondary institutions, whenever we adopt a tradition, whenever we adopt a kind of ideology, we institutionalize that, and accordingly we'll be having a variety of secondary institutions. So these are 4 basic concepts which we use in sociology. The entire sociology and subject matter is based upon these concepts, that is society, community, association, and institution. Is this clear so far?
Yes, ma'am.
No? Yes? Do you have any doubts?
Yes, ma'am.
No, if you have any doubts, say please.
Ma'am,
చెప్పండి.
sociology basic meaning ఏంటి మ్యామ్?
సోషియాలజీ బేసిక్ మీనింగ్ ఏంటంటే మనము మన సోషల్ లైఫ్ తెలుసుకునేది. ఇది కూడా కొంచెం థియరిటికల్ గా చెప్పినట్టుగా ఉంది. దాన్ని పక్కన పెట్టి ఇంకో రకంగా ఆలోచించండి. ఉదాహరణకి మీరు ఇప్పుడు క్లాస్ అటెండ్ అవుతున్నారు. రైట్. ఇప్పుడు క్లాస్ ఎందుకు అటెండ్ అవుతున్నారు? మీరు కోర్సులో జాయిన్ అయ్యారు కాబట్టి. కనపడుతుంది కానీ ట్రై టు అండర్స్టాండ్. మీరు కోర్సులో ఎందుకు జాయిన్ అయ్యారు? బికాస్ యూ వాంటెడ్ టు హ్యావ్ సమ్ గ్రాడ్యుయేట్ సర్టిఫికేట్ కాబట్టి. రైట్. గ్రాడ్యుయేట్ సర్టిఫికేట్ ఎందుకు కావాలి? ఒక ఉద్యోగం కోసమో ఇంకా దేనికోసమో కావాలి. సో యూ ఆర్ డూయింగ్ ఎ పర్టికులర్ యాక్టివిటీ, పర్చేసింగ్ సమ్ బుక్స్, రీడింగ్ దెమ్, రైటింగ్ క్వశ్చన్, యువర్ ఎగ్జామినేషన్స్ అండ్ ఆల్ దట్. Who asked you to do all this?
Hello, ma'am.
Who asked you to do all this?
That is my own thinking.
Correct. Your own thinking ఎట్లా డెవలప్ అయింది? మీరు ఎక్కడైతే ఉన్నారో ఆ సొసైటీ నుంచి దట్ ఓన్ థింకింగ్ డెవలప్ అయింది. యువర్ సొసైటీ సేస్ ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ ఎడ్యుకేటెడ్ దెన్ యువర్ స్టేటస్ ఇంప్రూవ్స్, your economic position improves. If you are educated, then the question comes, what type of education? Some traditions will be there or things will be there. Accordingly, you'll be choosing all these activities. So your entire life is linked with what society is thinking. It is not you. You are thinking that you are taking a decision. No, but it is society which is taking a decision. Right? How society takes this decision, that is our subject matter.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Confusing ga unda? Arthamainda?
Less. Adamain, ma'am.
Okay. Any other doubt?
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am.
Cheppandi.
I want to ask this relative permanently.
Hello? Yeah, please tell me, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, it's a 6th point, relatively permanent. What it means, ma'am?
See, association, the duration of association is limited. Let us say, I have established one school. Let us imagine, only for a few minutes. And you are all there with me because my interest and your interest are same. And we have established a school where only sociology will be taught. Taking a simplest example in a lighter way. Once this need is over, I wanted to teach sociology to a particular age group people only for 1 month. Okay. Once that 1 month period is over, our society will go away because there is no need for us unless we think that it should be a continuous one. So is there any permanency of our association? No, right? Whereas in case of institution, it is not like that. Why? When I start this teaching sociology for 1 month, then some changes will come, and along with sociology, I may start teaching certain other subjects also. Students may come. So it is a continuous one. Though it is started to teach sociology, we have added so many aspects to that. And slowly we develop some kind of traditions, some kind of rules and regulations. For its tradition, let me take a simplest example. We may say as a group, as an association, we may say all students who are coming to our class should wear this particular type of, let us say, dress pattern or color and all this. See what is happening. A tradition is being established, right? So like that it goes on. This process is known as institutionalization. When this process goes on, then institution will not be over by 1 month or when the need is over. It continues. It may continue even for 2 or 3 or umpteen number of generations. So that is the reason we say institutions are relatively permanent, whereas association is not. Association, community, they are not, say for instance, in a particular area. Let us take an example from tsunami. So many areas were simply covered by or completely destroyed in tsunami. Many people might have left those areas, their houses, etc., because nothing is remaining there, and they might have gone to some other place and started living there. Is the community there? I don't think so, right? The community also has gone, vanished. But an institution will not be like that. Institution will continue with these people. Wherever they go, along with them it goes. That is the reason why we say institution is relatively. Relatively means పోల్చి చూస్తే వేరే దాంతో కంపేర్ చేస్తే అని అర్థం. సో కంపేర్ టు ద కమ్యూనిటీ అండ్ అసోసియేషన్, ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్ ఈజ్ పర్మనెంట్.
Ma'am,
Thank you, ma'am. Okay,
Come on.
ma'am.
Ma'am,
which units we should concentrate for first sem?
We should concentrate on.
For first semester.
I see your semester question paper will be prepared by taking topics from each and every lesson, because no
Okay.
examiner is given any chance to leave any topics. So
Okay.
you have to prepare.
Ma'am.
All units you have to prepare.
Okay,
Ma'am.
ma'am.
Yeah, tell me, ma.
మ్యామ్ నాకు 2 సోషలైజ్ బుక్స్ వచ్చాయి మ్యామ్.
ఏమా
2 సోషలైజ్ బుక్స్ ఉన్నాయి మ్యామ్. కావాలంటే మీకు చూపిస్తాను.
అక్కర్లేదు అమ్మా, నీకు 2 సెమిస్టర్స్ ఉంటాయి కదమ్మా, ఫస్ట్ సెమిస్టర్ సెకండ్ సెమిస్టర్.
అంటే బుక్స్ ఇప్పుడే ఎందుకు ఇచ్చారు మ్యామ్? సెకండ్ సెమిస్టర్ బుక్ కూడా నాకు ఇప్పుడే ఇచ్చేసారు. కావాలంటే మీకు చూపిస్తా ఒకసారి.
అక్కర్లేదు
అందరికీ ఇచ్చారు.
నాకు తెలుసు తల్లి, వాళ్ళ తొందర.
అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఇది
ఫస్ట్ సెమిస్టర్ అమ్మ, ఫస్ట్ సెమిస్టర్ కి ఫండమెంటల్స్ ఆఫ్ సోషియాలజీ మాత్రమే చదవాలి తల్లి, నాట్ యువర్ ఇండియన్ సొసైటీ. ఫస్ట్ సెమిస్టర్ కి ఏ బుక్స్ ఉన్నాయో అవే చదవండి, మిగతా వాటి జోలికి వెళ్ళకండి.
ఇది చదివే అవసరం లేదా మ్యామ్?
వద్దు, దట్ ఈస్ ఫర్ యువర్ సెకండ్ మేడం. కానీ యువర్ క్లాసెస్ విల్ బి, no, it's not that your classes will be over. Say for instance, if you are having 16 classes, so 8 classes for fundamentals of sociology, 8 classes for Indian society. Classes at one go అవుతాయి. The reason here is due to COVID చాలా ups and downs వచ్చాయి మీ అకాడమిక్ ఇయర్ లో. సో అది మళ్ళీ స్ట్రీమ్ లైన్ చేయాలి కదా, అందుకోసం మీకు పుస్తకాలు ఒకేసారి పంపించారు, క్లాసెస్ కూడా అట్ వన్ గో పెడుతున్నారు.
ఓకే మ్యామ్.
ఓకే మ్యామ్. అంటే మళ్ళీ ఫస్ట్ ఇది ఒక బుక్కే చదవాలి ఇప్పుడైతే బేసిక్.
సోషాలజీకి ఫండమెంటల్స్ ఆఫ్ సోషాలజీ ఫస్ట్ సెమిస్టర్ కి, మీరు ఫస్ట్ సెమిస్టర్ అయిపోయినాక సెకండ్ సెమిస్టర్.
ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ మ్యామ్. నేను చాలా కన్ఫ్యూజ్ అయ్యా.
ఎందుకు సెమిస్టర్ కదమ్మా, 6 నెలలకు ఒకసారి
చదువుతున్నా మ్యామ్. నేను 2 బుక్కులు చదువుతున్నా.
డోంట్ వరీ, రెండోది ఇప్పుడే చదవకర్లే, ఫస్ట్ చదవండి.
Shivani,
We have to learn all model question papers, ma'am.
Shivani.
Yeah. Tell me, ma'am.
We have to learn all model examination questions, ma'am.
That's what I said, no? See, there cannot be an examination questions and all that. You have to read all units, because your examination paper will consist of questions from each and every unit.
Wait. At the end of lessons, that questions are there. So we have to learn that questions only, ma'am.
No. Yeah. The thing is, those questions are self-explanatory. They provide a base for you to prepare for your examination. It is better if you read them, if you learn them. You can prepare notes for those questions, then that will be easier for you, instead of simply going through the verbose.
And ma'am, for objective, what we have to do, ma'am?
The entire lesson you have to study, not mere reading, because you should understand the concept, you should understand the situation. Then only you'll be able to write, answer objective questions.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
So see you tomorrow at the same time. Meanwhile, if possible, those who are having questions, please go through them. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
See you.
Okay, ma'am.
Take
Thank you,
care.
ma'am.
Thank
Okay,
you.
ma'am.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello,
Bye.
ma'am.
Yeah, tell me, ma.
I have purchased a book from Prasad series from Koti. Can I refer that question bank?
For your objective questions, yeah, I think you can follow. Start doing exercises. That helps you.
I had purchased question banks from Koti last
That's what
year.
I'm saying. No, is it objective type question bank or essay type question bank?
No, it is question and answers plus objective.
But is it prepared for Open University stream or any other?
It is especially for Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University.
Okay, then you can follow it. What is it? It's up to you. So whichever method is convenient to you, easier for you, you please follow it. The end result should be you should get through the examination and flying colors. That's all.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am. See you. Take care. Bye.
Hi Hi, Shivani. Shivani is not there.
Who is this who is talking?
I am Shivani.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm some doubt. Swami is not there books. How to take the books?
You have to go Jubilees, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Open University.
I'm not Telangana.
Where are you?
Krishna district, Kaiklur.
Krishna district. I mean, there is your center in there. You have to go there and you ask.
I'm asked the sir to take the university books.
Actually, you come to Hyderabad and you go to Jubilees, Dr. Ambedkar University. There, they will
Hey,
give.
no. Sir to say me to pay the money and as well as total paid the money, but she is giving all the books.
Who you give money?
I paid the money, total money.
I also paid money, but I went there and I took.
But is there is coming to the book is not coming. But how to take?
Hello, it will not come to you. You have to go there. That's why I am telling you. That will not come to you. You have to go there and you have to take. You go your center. Otherwise, you go that B.R. Ambedkar, the very big college is there. I went there. Jubilees in Jubilees. They will give you book.
Okay.
I understood?
Understood.
Yeah.
Shivani, first topic is what is there? I don't know.
In books is there. First topic is there na for France and in France topic. That page number is second. Same, it started from first only.
Shivani, have you purchased question banks?
Hello? What are you saying?
Question banks.
See, there is no like big questions. We'll finish this unit in the end. There is some question answers is there. We have to read that one only. I also don't know anything.
From where you have making notes from these topics only?
Yeah, this I am learning this all topics and I am remembering and I am going to that questions and I am giving answers. That's all.
Wow.
You will understand lesson properly. You can answer any question, na?
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, invisible books.
Huh? What?
Invisible. I have to take invisible books.
Why are you talking?
Hello.
మనం
బయట తీసుకోవాలి బుక్స్ అంటున్నా.
అర్థం అవట్లే, ఏం చెప్పావు?
బుక్స్ అడుగుతున్నావు కదా, బుక్స్ మనం బయట తీసుకోవాలి క్వశ్చన్ బ్యాంక్స్ అంటున్నా.
అవునా? బుక్స్ వేరే ఉన్నాయా క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్స్ కి?
ఉన్నాయి.
ఎక్కడ?
ఇక్కడే కృష్ణా డిస్ట్రిక్ట్. ఎందుకంటే నేను సార్ని అడిగాను.
ఏమైనా అడిగారు?
ఏమైనా సార్ మేము ఇలాగా కోర్స్ మెటీరియల్ కదా, మేము మెటీరియల్ తీసుకొచ్చారంటే మీరు బయట తీసుకోవాలమ్మా అన్నారు. స్టడీ మెటీరియల్స్
మాకు డైరెక్ట్ స్టడీ మెటీరియల్ దొరికింది కదా యూనివర్సిటీలో, ఇంకా మేము క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్సర్స్ బుక్ ఎందుకు తీసుకోవాలి?
మీకు అలా దొరికినా మాకు ఇక్కడ ఇలా దొరకట్లా అసలు.
అందుకే చెప్పాను నేను ఇక్కడికి వచ్చి డైరెక్ట్ కాలేజ్కి వెళ్ళండి అని.
ఓకే,
మీకే కష్టం అవుతుంది లేకపోతే.